One more time, hello, Derby World. This is John Kool-Aid Porter coming to you live from Austin, Texas, the Convention Center. I'm joined here by the ever lovely, ever effervescent Dragon Lady.
Thank you for having me and the both teams coming down for this exciting evening of roller derby.
As you've no doubt noticed on the Twitter world, this is the Hipster City Showdown. The Texas Roller Girls Texecutioners, ranked number 1 in the South Central, going up against the Rose City Rollers Wheels of Justice, ranked number 3 in the Western region by the Women's Flat Track Derby Association. Two easily arguable top 10 teams, both skated at the championships last year, the 2011 WFTDA Championships in Denver, Colorado. Coming in for what should be a very exciting match, Dragon Lady.
I've been looking forward to this lineup for several weeks. Now, we had the B teams face off earlier this evening with Axles of Annihilation going up the brand new debut of the firing squad for Texas.
That's correct. Texas Roller Girls, 10 years late to the party, but we've got a B team.
Oh, congratulations. Well, we've got team intros going underway. Shall we review the rosters?
Well, let's do that. Before we do, though, if you want to get a hold of us, we are on Twitter right now, hashtag Hipster City Showdown, or just hashtag TXRG, but the hashtag Hipster City Showdown will no doubt get your tweets read over the air if they're funny or creative enough. If you want to talk to us, that's the way to do it on yonder Twitter. And here are the Wheels of Justice.
Wheels of Justice is wearing their light jersey tonight. And we've got number 2, French Tickler. Number 5, Mel Mingles. Her debut back onto the travel team. Number 11, Kikacity. 17H, the Blast Unicorn. Number 20, Sulfuric Acid. Number 50, Scald Eagle. Whoa! My bad.
Sorry, some technical difficulties as Chip Queso is learning how to see. Number 50, Scald Eagle. Number 54, White Flight.
Number 73, Frankenherder. Number 81, Havana Good Time. 94, Scrappy Go Lucky. 100, Mercy. 210, Heidi Go Seek. 360, Joyride. And number 934, JK Rolling.
And tonight for the Texecutioners, number 22, Polygon. Number 02, Shortcut. Number 03, Olivia Shootin' John. Number 5, Smarty Pants. Number 9, Babe Ruthless. Number 19, Molotov Impale. Number 33, Loose Bandit. Your co-captain, number 40, Bloody Mary. Number 56, Lucille Brawl. Your captain, number 76, Corvette. Number 86, The Killa, Sal Manila. Number 989, Killbox, a.k.a. Sarah Heipel. Number 1853, Vicious Van Gogo, and 1889, Belle Star. And the crowd of about 2,000. Let's go ahead and just for a minute listen as Chip Queso brings in the Texecutioners.
Well, and as we bring in Texas, sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. It's been about a year since these two teams faced off. The last time was in Portland last May, almost exactly a year. And Rose City took the win 105 to Texas 79. But I've got to say, Kool-Aid, these are two very different rosters this year.
I agree. That was part of a very brutal stretch for Texas. Went up and played Rose City, Rat City, and the team formerly known as Olympia. Went 0-3, just had a brutal trip to the Pacific Northwest. Since then, they've really are skating, as far as Texas, essentially the same roster. They've gotten leaner, though. They've skated very well. As you remember, they took 3rd in the WFTDA Championships. Rose City, though, as you said, a much different roster.
We have a very new team. That being said, it's very unpredictable. Such a level of turnover that I don't know what to say about them yet. We've only bouted twice. there was Wheels of Justice went up against Windy City and Denver Roller Dolls just last weekend and squeaked by with 2 wins.
Yeah, 2 very close wins for Rose City. In April, they beat Windy City by only 3 points, 133 to 130. Then, as you said last week, a 36-point win over the Denver Roller Dolls. So impressive to start the year, but as you say, I'll be curious to see what they do against a team of this caliber, particularly on Texas home floor. And it does bear pointing out, the Texas track is a bit slippery.
It's polished concrete, and that is something Rose City is certainly not used to on a daily basis.
All right, and here we come out. We've got Judge Knott is the head ref for this bout. Looks like we've got Albino, Wookie, and Quicksilver are your jam refs.
We're already lining up for the first jam.
And coming to the line for the Texecutioners is Vicious Van Go-Go.
Going up against number 54, White Flight for Rose City. Now Texas is wearing the black and red uniforms this evening.
That is correct.
Remember, Portland is white with purple trim.
And 1 whistle is the pack, 2 whistles of the jammers. We're off.
We've just got 2 layers of wall there sandwiched between. White Flight breaks through, picking up the first lead jammer of the bout.
She does. Vicious Van Go-Go now working way on the outside. She's up and almost out of the pack. Here comes White Flight about to start scoring points.
Rose City with a rotating set of hits, just knocking Vicious back, but White Flight making her first scoring pass.
White Flight completes her first scoring pass, quickly calls it off, got 4 points. 4-0 quickly for Rose City.
First mark on the board for the evening. And that was certainly a quick first jam.
And looks like coming to the jammer line now is Olivia Shootin' for the Texecutioners.
I can't see through the inside pack refs, unfortunately. I'm going to guess it's sulfuric acid. And I'm right.
Texecutioners take a knee. That will force a quick no-pack situation. The jammers are released, no penalties.
The same sandwich of 2 walls in the front near the pivot line as we did last jam, and sulfuric acid through lead jammer for Rose City.
2 jams in a row with lead jammer status for the Wheels of Justice. Olivia Shootin' up front, pushing hard. She is out of the pack, eligible to score points. Sulfuric acid, though, coming around to the back now. Works her way past Bellstar on the inside.
Pushes her teammates aside and gets around Smarty Pants, calls off the jam. Another 4 points, and that new lineup.
So now 8-0 for Wheels of Justice over the Texecutioners. Sarah Heipel, a.k.a. Keelbox, comes to the jammer line for Texas.
And Scald Eagle wearing the purple star for Rose City.
Texas again taking a jam. For those of you who might be new to the sport, there's no penalties if you force a no-pack situation in the beginning of the jam, because you're not destroying the pack, because the pack was never there to be destroyed.
Well, an interesting formation by Texas. 3 on the jammer, just in front of the jammer lane, 1 in the middle, sort of bridging between Rose City and Texas.
Another scrum start. Scald Eagles now up front, trying to get past Loose Bandit and Polygon. They're going to be out of play. They are out of play, and through for lead jammer, Scald Eagle for the Wheels of Justice.
Really careful footwork on her part, making sure she did not go out of bounds, stayed in, and already back around for her first scoring pass.
Sarah Heipel still trying to work her initial pass.
Front wall of Frankenherder and Heidi Go-Seek in the front there, and Scald already picking up 5 points for Rose City. Woo!
Now out of the pack, though, is Keelbox. She's about 30 feet behind Scald Eagle. Very quick-moving pack. So Scald Eagle should have a chance here to score a few more points before Sarah Heipel forces her to call it off.
Well, and I want to point out Sarah Heipel had a nice hit on Joyride, the pivot for Rose City. Normally you don't see that outside of being a block of her own, but she wanted out of that pack and she made her way.
So 2 more points scored on that last pass by Scald Eagle, makes it now 15-0 for the Wheels of Justice over the Texecutioners.
Very quick jams, very clean. Absolutely no one's gone to the box yet.
After 3 jams?
I know. The track should be cleared by now. Texas on a knee, and Portland scooting back as Texas scoots back.
That is White Flight to the jammer line for the Wheels of Justice. Vicious Van Gogh for Texas. A replay of the first jam. Pack starting to pick up speed. White Flight's up front. White Flight is through. Lead jammer White Flight for the Wheels of Justice.
Nice little push there by J.K. Rowling at the end, and now she turns around, shoulder to Vicious, but she clears her initial pass.
Yes, Vicious Van Gogh now out of the pack, about half a lap behind us. Here's White Flight on a scoring pass, gets past shortcut and calls it off for 4 more points for the Wheels of Justice. Whew. This is just a scientific dissection of the Wheels of Justice over the Texecutioners. 4 jams, 4 lead jams for the Wheels of Justice. They've gotten through scoring passes on each point and prevented Texas from getting a single point thus far, Dragon Lady.
Well, we have our first skater of the box. It looks like Havana Good Time is taking a minute out. Sulfuric acid back on the jam line for Rose City.
And that is Olivia Shootin'
Now Texas taking a knee in the front.
Sulfuric acid gets up front. A major back block on sulfuric acid for the Wheels of Justice. Texecutioners get a power jam. Olivia Shootin' though, still trying to work her initial pass past the 3 wall by the Wheels of Justice, Dragon.
And they're trying to swallow her up. That was a huge back block on Polygon there from Acid. And first lead jammer for Texas tonight. Shortcut.
So Olivia Shootin' jamming for the Texecutioners is now on her first scoring pass. Comes up, she gets some help. Oh, and nice juke move around number 100, Mercy for a grand slam, Olivia Shootin'.
The pack at a standstill, moving backwards, but Rose City now in the front trying to hold a 3-wall. Still no moving around. We've got Mercy, Frenchie, and the Blast Unicorn up there.
And Olivia Shootin' comes on the inside. Nice move. Another grand slam. 10 points on the board now for Texas.
Havana back on the track for Rose City.
Texas doing a very good job of keeping the pack slow. 4-wall up front by the Wheels of Justice, though. Texas now engages the pack. Olivia Shootin' working her way through. Standing in the penalty box, though, is Scald Eagle. Power jam is about to end.
Rose City doing a great job of webbing together their front wall. They're not giving John an inch and just killing that time as Acid's back on the track now.
Remember, this is the first pass for sulfuric acid. Out of play. She looks like the pack caught up to her, but that's the initial pass now for sulfuric acid. So Olivia Shootin' will need to finish this pass and then call it off.
This is her 3rd scoring pass.
And she sees sulfuric acid, calls it off.
She was getting pushed out of bounds there by Frenchie and Blast.
But that was 4 more points on that last pass, so 14 points on that jam for Olivia Shootin' 19-14. And just like that, it's a 5-point game, Dragon Lady.
That's what I like to see. Empty penalty box as well, excuse me. And
the last time you said that, your jammer went to the box shortly thereafter.
I'm a horrible jinx. Scald Eagle back on the jam line. Are we on the same 3 jammer rotation between these 2 teams?
We are on the exact same jammer rotation as it's Killbox going up against Scald Eagle.
No pack called immediately to release the jammers.
On the line for Texas running the jammer, how many is Killbox?
A huge scrum start up front. Killbox is up front. Scald Eagle not far behind her.
Rose City just swallowing in the back there with everyone's just focusing on the opposing jammer, but
through is Killbox for lead jammer for the Texecutioners. Scald Eagle, though, comes around Bellstar. She is out of the pack. 40 feet behind Killbox is Scald Eagle. Slow moving pack. We've got one Rose City blocker going to the box for a major track cut, and here's Killbox on a scoring pass.
We see both teams eyeing behind them, looking to see where both jammers are positioned, and the jam is called no point scored, either team.
So remember, it's hips in front of hips to score points. Killbox did engage the blockers for the Wheels of Justice, but did not get her hips in front of hips before she called it off. So no points. Really almost a jam win there for the Wheels of Justice, as they were able to, while they lost lead jammer status, did not allow Texas to score any points and capitalize on that lead jammer status.
Well, and only one set of hips would have given them 2 points with Joyride sitting in the box there.
That's right, the Ghost Point was there, but unable to capitalize. Now to the jammer line, Vicious Van Gogh and White Flight right around on the outside. White Flight, lead jammer, Wheels of Justice.
Ooh, huge hit from Scrappy Go Lucky, taking the jammer down to her knees.
So Vicious Van Gogh still on her initial pass, forced to the out, as here comes White Flight coming around now, scoring points. She's working on a grand slam. She's through. How many points, Albino Wookie? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Grand slam for White Flight.
Nice big opening on the inside by her teammate there, Mercy.
So Vicious Van Gogh still on her initial pass. Is just solid defense by the Wheels of Justice are holding her in.
Out of play in the air, and that's going to give Scrappy Go Lucky a major for 1 minute off the track.
So Vicious Van Gogh out, but White Flight comes through for another scoring pass, sees where Vicious is, and calls it off, scoring 4 points. So a 9-point jam there by White Flight, runs it up now to 28-14.
4 points awarded to Vicious Van Gogh.
Wheels of Justice down 2 blockers, but Joyride standing up, waiting out her time. Sulfuric acid jamming for Rose City.
Texas again takes a knee. A smart play here, Dragon Lady. You want to maximize the amount of time of advantage that you have with 2 blockers for Rose City in the penalty box. Advantage for Texas to quickly get the jam started, as Olivia Shootin' is wearing the Jammer Star for Texas, and for the Wheels of Justice, it's...
Well, and there was a big opening that was taken by Frankenhurter, not letting her go easily, but she picks up lead jammer, and John is through.
Meanwhile, Sulfuric acid jamming for the Wheels of Justice, still working on her initial pass. Solid defense by Polygon and Bellstar to hold her. Here comes Olivia Shootin' on a scoring pass.
Wheels of Justice pushing her to the inside with those 3 skaters, JK, Frank, and...
Sulfuric acid now out of the box. Olivia Shootin' finishes a 4-point scoring pass and quickly calls it off. So 28-22.
6 points. This is the kind of action I like to see. If I'm going to travel 2,000 miles, at least this game is delivering.
Remember, if you want to talk to us on Twitter, it's the Hipster City Showdown. Hashtag Hipster City Showdown. Hipster City Showdown
I think
on
that's the
Twitter.
Second time you've slipped on that.
I know not of what you speak, ma'am.
So Scald Eagle jamming for Rose City. No pack called immediately, even though everyone was standing. It's cool.
Killbox, Scald Eagle both in the pack, both working their way up. Scald Eagle recycled to the back, Killbox up front. Solid 3-wall by Rose City. Killbox doing everything she can to try to push through it.
But Blast Unicorn pushing her to the inside, causing Killbox to get a minor cut.
Killbox now up front again.
Heidi Gasik and Havana just holding her back, though.
Still in play. Killbox stays on inbound. She's up. She's out. Is she lead jammer? She is not. Scald Eagle is out as well. She is lead jammer. She's about 10 feet behind Killbox. We'll see if Scald Eagle wants to try to catch her or engage. They're engaging.
Whew. Yeah, there's that minor cut that kept Killbox from getting lead jammer, but Scald has cleared for 4 points.
And Killbox is going to the penalty box. Power jam with lead jammer status for the Wheels of Justice. Huge, huge opportunity here for the Wheels of Justice.
Lucky guess on not calling that off before either of them had reached the back of the pack. Lucky opportunity here for Rose City to see how they can drive up the score in this lead jam.
Oh, and cutting right through on the inside was Scald Eagle. Texas now quickly spreads out to try to engage her. I think she's already scored at least 3 points.
Good job of bridging by Texas there.
And Scald Eagle, smart play, the bench manager for Rose City, told her to call it off. You have to love that call, Dragon Lady. They know she'd already gotten 3 points, but Texas had a solid defensive formation set up. At that point, you can spend another 30 seconds of your power jam trying to get that last point and hope to get another pass before the power jam ends, or you end it, put White Flight on the track wearing the Jammer Star for the Wheels of Justice, and now you know you've got at least 30 seconds of power jam to try to capitalize. Smart play by Wheels of Justice.
Absolutely. Rob Lobster calling it there. When you just get recycled, why make that fight a second time? But Texas is building a strong wall. They're trying to shut down White Flight. No pack called.
No pack, and the pack is now reformed. Bellstar's up front. White Flight, though, is out. Lead jammer for White Flight.
And Mercy being sent out for a major. I don't know if that was destruction of the pack.
I believe a failure to reform, but either way, it looks like Killbox is now standing in the penalty box. White Flight is approaching the pack on her first scoring pass. Remember, Killbox will be on her initial pass when she leaves the penalty box.
Pack was really slow, keeping it slow, but now that White Flag has hit the pack for a scoring pass that's sped up.
Beautiful blocking job by Smarty Pants to force White Flight out, and only 2 points scored there by White Flight. Killer blocking job by Smarty Pants.
Falling back there, forcing her pretty much, well, she got the out of play signal, so she hit her 20 feet. And she called it off.
I have no doubt that's what Peggy Horn is out there talking to Judge Knott about, but you got to give good props there to Smarty Pants for really being not only a very well-executed physical block, but then having the headiness to skate back and force White Flight to call it off.
Next jam, we got sulfuric acid out there for Rose City.
Vicious Van Gogh on the jammer line, 39-24 with 15 minutes left in the first half. Both jammers in the back now. Vicious Van Gogh works her way on the outside up front. Good 2-wall by Rose City.
Mel Mangles turned around, pushes her out of bounds, and drops her to the back of the pack there. Rose still down one blocker as Mercy is still sitting in the penalty box there.
Neither jammer able to really make much progress here. Well, now sulfuric acid's up front. Texas still gets blockers in front of her. The pack is still in play.
It's just skating. It's like they're skating through mud there. The packs are so strong, slowing them down there. There's a lot of lateral movement, but not a lot of momentum.
And I'm coming through. Vicious Van Gogh on the inside, uncut. She is lead jammer for the Texecutioners, but sulfuric acid is out as well. 20 feet separate these jammers. The pack starts to pick up speed. Pack formation so critical right now. Vicious Van Gogh knows the Texecutioners need to get their blockers up front. Wheels of Justice, smart plays to get all their blockers up front, though. I'll be curious to see.
Yeah, not give any easy points away there. We've got all 8 blockers on the track.
1 point for each team. Wow, what a jam. Dragon Lady.
This is a perfect chess game.
I just want to let you guys know.
I almost feel like both these teams have been doing their homework, studying their opponents, and making some very precise decisions out there.
All right, so with just under 15 minutes left now in the first half, 40-25 for the Wheels of Justice in white over the Texecutioners in black, coming to you live here from Austin, Texas. On the jammer line, we have, I believe, Scald Eagle and Olivia Shootin' John.
Now, can you explain to me why they're calling no pack when everyone is standing?
I'll tell you in a minute. After we talk about the major track cut on Scald Eagle, power jam now for the Texecutioners. Olivia Shootin' John still working on the first pass. Rose City so smart, they immediately speed that pack up.
Scrappy Go Lucky pushing her to the inside and quickly rejoins her fellow blockers in the front of the pack.
So Olivia Shootin' John still working on her first pass through the pack as Rose City's got an incredibly quick pack speed. Texas now has a couple of blockers in the pack. They can slow it down. Olivia Shootin' John is out for a lead jammer for the Texecutioners, but 30 seconds were run off that power jam by that pack play by the Wheels of Justice.
And Wheels of Justice regrouping in the front there once again.
Pack slowed down now. Olivia Shootin' John engages, pushes her way through. Nice juke move. She's out for 5 points. Grand slam, Olivia Shootin' John.
It's always a matter of distance. You want to stay in front, but you don't want to create a no-pack situation. Now we've got Rose City dropping back. Ooh, big shoulder from Scrappy Go Lucky.
Olivia Shootin' John stays in bounds, though, comes again for another 5-point grand slam. Standing is Scald Eagle. That's 2 grand slams.
One more grand slam, and we're going to have a tie game here, Kool-Aid.
So Scald Eagle's back on, quickly plays defense. Smart play by Scald Eagle. Remember, she's on her initial pass through the pack. Texas now moves into defensive mode as Lucille Brawl tries to hold Scald Eagle, unable to do so. Initial pass completed for Scald. Olivia Shootin' John up front with Scrappy Go Lucky.
Nice 1-2 defense there. Scrappy and Blast Unicorn holding the front of the pack.
And here comes Scald Eagle. Olivia Shootin' John calls it off. No points for Scald Eagle. 2 more points on that pass, so another 12-point jam for Olivia Shootin' John.
And unfortunately, Texas, amazing hit taking out Scrappy Go Lucky, the biggest threat out there at the moment in that jam, but they also took out their own jammer.
So you have to give a knock on the Wheels of Justice there, Scald Eagle, for a major track cut on her pass through the pack, but you have to give huge props to the Wheels of Justice blockers. They played that jam beautifully, only allowing 12 points on the power jam there.
Well, and now we have a 3-point game.
Texas, we need.
And we're back now. The jam has started. It looks like we've got Killbox on the jammer line for Texas, and I believe that is White Flight for the Wheels of Justice.
Yes, indeed. Rose City swarming.
Killbox is through. Killbox came through on the inside. She is lead jammer for the Texecutioners. White Flight was knocked down. She's in the back of the pack.
Texas.
Half of her team was knocked down with her, but quickly everyone back up on their feet. Ooh.
Set and Spike, Bellstar, and Polygon. White Flight, though, stays on her skates. Good bridge by Polygon. Out of play, though, now is White Flight. She's through.
That's her initial pass, but first scoring pass there for Killbox. J.K. Rowling dropping back, and
Killbox calls it off. We'll see how many points she scored. 0 for Rose City and
2 points.
2 points. We got a 1-point game, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't think either team really wants to win that badly. That's the impression I'm getting here tonight.
I don't know if this is coming across on the HD feed that Infinite Media is sending out to you out there in the Derbyverse, but this is some of the most amazing defense I have seen. Both teams just solid, smart play, but just some brutal hits are happening out here.
Sulfuric acid jamming for, not right anymore. She got a major track cut, and this is going to give Texas another power jam.
That's correct. Sulfuric acid took a minute to go off. Vicious Van Gogh now jamming unopposed for Texas. Vicious Van Gogh up front. Vicious Van Gogh is lead jammer for the Texecutioners.
Rose City trying to stick with her, get one last hit in, but out of the play is set in the air as a warning.
Rose City attempted to get a quick pack speed established, unable to do so. Here's Vicious on her first scoring pass. Texas waits for it, now engages the pack. The pack speeds up.
Trying to trap back Scrappy Go Lucky to control the pace of the pack.
Solid defense by Rose City. Vicious comes around on the outside. She's up. One more blocker to get past.
Series of rotating hits, slowing her down, but she is finally through. 5 points, lead change.
5 points, that is correct. Texas takes their first lead of the game, 44-40. The pack now stopped. Here comes Vicious Van Gogh on her second scoring pass.
Two white in the black to welcome Vicious. Quickly reforming in the front for Rose City.
Rose City with such a smart four-wall up there, keeps the pack speed slow. Texas engaged, the pack speeds up. Vicious Van Gogh up and out for another 5-point grand slam.
Heidi Go Seek getting sent out for, I believe, a cut major, but more importantly, sulfuric acid back on the track for Rose City.
That is correct. Sulfuric acid now working with the Texas defense. Here comes Vicious Van Gogh on another scoring pass.
She's slowing down, looking for that opportunity to get her way through the pack, getting knocked to the inside by, once again, Scrappy Go Lucky.
And here comes Scald Eagle. Sulfuric acid working quickly, forces Vicious to call it off. 2 points, so a 12-point jam. That is back-to-back 12-point jams for the Texecutioners, and Texas has their first lead of the evening, 51-40, with 8.5 minutes left in this first half, and we have no surprise, Dragon Lady, a timeout by the Wheels of Justice.
Yep, team timeout being called there. It looks like on the screen it's 51-40.
That is correct, 51-40.
Rose City taking a smart pause in the game, hopefully regroup, slow down that momentum that Texas has been slowly generating and spilling out onto the track. Rob Lobster approaching head ref Judge Knott. No surprise there.
And if you're enjoying what you're seeing out there on the interwebs, remember, folks, the Texas Roller Girls will be hosting the Star of Texas Bowl in July 21st and 22nd. The Texas Roller Girls, the Gotham Girls Roller Derby, Bay Area Roller Girls, and the Windy City Rollers will all be here, all 4 teams, 6 games in 2 days. It's going to be amazing, but you don't have to come to Austin, Texas to see it, Dragon Lady. You can watch it all on WFTDA.tv in HD. More on that later as we're back to the action.
Absolutely. We got Scald Eagle jamming for Rose City.
And that is Olivia Shootin' John.
And the pack is at a slow crawl.
Scald Eagle works her way up to the front. Bellstar holding her. Olivia Shootin' John in the back with a 3-wall by Rose City. Both jammers working very hard. Scald Eagle's up front. Lead jammer Scald Eagle as Loose Bandit was forced to disengaged because of out of play. Now out of the pack, though, is Olivia Shootin'
One nice last hit there from Kay Cassidy as she left the pack, but apparently that was a well-timed team timeout as Rose City picks up 3 points and calls off the jam.
That was the first time in 4 jams that the Wheels of Justice were able to get lead jammer. Those 4 jams in a row where Texas scored lead jammer status, they were able to run their score from 24 to 51. So you see, so critical, not only lead jammer status, but it was with 2 power jams where they scored 12 and 14 points respectively. Penalty box starting to play a bit of a factor here in this game, Dragon Lady.
Right, it's not just a matter of having one more point than the other team. You got to count your penalties as well. It has just as much of an impact. White flight jamming for Rose City once again.
Kill box for the Texecutioners. Another solid defensive effort by both teams. White flight forced out of bounds. She's got to recycle. Kill box is up front but unable to break through.
Texas just holding White flight in the back of the pack there, pushing her out of bounds time and time again.
Killbox is up front, almost got a track cut, was able to stay out of bounds long enough to recycle, and both jammers now in the back of the pack. We're going to do it again 30 seconds into this jam.
And unfortunately, that was getting pushed out by her own teammate, but it doesn't matter. White flight, lead jammer now for Rose City.
Out of the pack now is Killbox. That was an amazing, amazing skating effort by White Flight to stay inbounds on one skate as she skated on the outside line. White Flight sees the configuration of the pack with all of the Rose City blockers in the back. She knew that Killbox was going to be able to get points if she didn't call it off. So a jam win there for Texas as they negated the lead jammer status of Rose City.
All that effort, no point jam.
That's got to be really frustrating as a jammer. It took you 45 seconds just to get lead jammer status because the defense was so solid, and then you're not able to score any points.
But at least you get to call it off.
That is true. Both teams now taking a knee.
They really don't want to pack right now.
They really want the jammers to be released as Olivia Shootin' is in there for Texas.
JK rolling and Joyride holding the front inside line there. Acid making her way slowly through the pack, but Texas is following her in front of her.
Solid hit by Polygon on sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid now up front. Loose bandit and Polygon holding her up now as Olivia Shootin' comes through untouched. She is
looks like
lead jammer Olivia Shootin'.
Looks like Acid was trying to follow in her shadow, but Texas smartened up, closed that opening.
That is correct. Texas opened the door, closed the door. Olivia Shootin' is lead jammer. Sulfuric acid is out. Olivia Shootin' on a scoring pass, comes around, calls it off. Should be 4 points. It is. Yep. 4 more points for Texas now, 55 to 43 with under 5 minutes left in this first half.
Whew. It's not very often you can say it's anyone's game. It is very early, but man, I'm going to smell we're going to have at least 2 more lead changes before the end of today.
It's so trite and cliche, but a 12-point lead is literally nothing in roller derby. One solid jam. And coming to the jammer line for the Wheels of Justice is Scald Eagle. She can score points in a hurry.
Going up against Killbox. And I believe there was a whistle.
There was a whistle, Dragon Lady. And now we have skating.
Okay. All right. I follow you. In a second, we'll have a second whistle? No, not just kidding.
Remember, the pack has to be in front of the pivot line. There it goes. Both jammers are released.
Scald putting a little defense on Sarah Heupel right off the back.
You've got 10 skaters congregated in a space of about 5 square feet. Killbox working her way, pushing, as is Scald Eagle in the back. Scald Eagle now up front, through, inside. Scald Eagle lead jammer for the Wheels of Justice.
Killbox still trying to get around that 3 wall, but Scarpa-Go-Lucky pushing her out of bounds, falling back, making her do it all over again.
Scald Eagle now on a scoring pass.
Get a huge knockdown there, but she's quickly back up on her feet.
That was a solid hit by Babe Ruthless. Killbox now coming towards the pack. Scald Eagle finishes the pass though, calls it off. 4 points for the Wheels of Justice.
Well, hey guys,
So with just under 3 minutes left in this first half, as I'm sure you all know, the game will end on the jam clock, not the period clock. So we've likely got time for 2 more jams in this first half.
Only 8 points separating these two teams. And I'm curious to see who is going to be keeping the lead by the time we go into halftime here.
We've got 4 blockers on the floor for Texas, 3 for Rose City. We've got Olivia Shootin' John jamming for the Texecutioners.
White flight for Rose City, trying to take the outside, but Texas wisens up.
Oh, set and spike by Bellstar and Polygon. White flight goes out of bounds. She got a track cut minor. Now, whether or not she's eligible for lead jammer status, she is not. White flight is out of the pack. She is not lead because of that minor track cut. Olivia Shootin' John needs to quickly get through, get lead, and calls it. Good play there by Texas.
Yes. Well, it looks like the not only do we have a polished concrete floor, but we have some sort of uneven surfaces that was minimized by the layout, but I did see White flight stumble a little bit out of bounds there.
We call them lovely derby humps.
Oh. Do you keep alligators underneath them?
Yes, yes we do.
To snap at the skaters?
Roller derby in the 70s. We're bringing it back.
One alligator at a time.
All right, so Killbox coming to the jammer line for Texas. Comes through on the outside. Almost got through, but did not.
Joyride knocks her out of bounds, falls back. Rose City at a disadvantage with only 2 blockers on the track, but that is not stopping them from taking Killbox out.
Sulfuric acid jamming for Rose City is up. She's out. She's lead jammer.
She had to fend for herself, but she made it out. Sarah's hot on her heels by about 20 feet.
Pack is stopped. Here comes the jammers. Killbox jumps through trying to score points. 3 points for Texas.
1 point for Rose City.
And Rose City coach very upset. And that, I believe, is the half.
Oh, we've got
50 seconds left.
Yeah, 1 more jam.
Texas has got to feel really good about that last jam. Didn't have lead jammer status, but a beautiful finishing effort. Remember, you score points up until the 4th whistle, and that was what allowed Killbox to score those 3 points.
And now we've got a 10-point game. Sulfuric acid jamming for Rose City, but taking a defensive position.
Skull Eagle up against
It's Olivia Shootin' John jamming for Texas, but through for lead jammer status. Sulfuric acid for Rose City.
Scald Eagle.
Scald Eagle.
They're both blonde. It's cool.
We have a 10-point game here.
So Olivia Shootin' John finally does clear the pack. Here comes Scald Eagle, though, scoring points. Nice lateral move to the outside. Loose Bandit forces her out of bounds.
She raises her hand as she drops back.
And forced to call it off as Olivia Shootin' John was closing quickly. 0-0. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is halftime.
It looks like we are going to have 15 minutes before we get the second period underway.
Scoreboard now says 58-47 and changed correctly to 58-48. So 30 minutes in the books. And these two teams, no surprise, have skated a very close 30 minutes. We're going to take a very brief, I believe, 10-minute break.
And we're going to end that period with no one in the box, or did they already left?
And you're seeing here in the neon green the Austin Derby Brats. Now, Rose City has a junior league of their own, do they not?
We do. We have the Rosebuds, and they are a little older. Their age range is 12 to 18, but their biggest impact is now we have 4 Rosebuds who are aged out of that program and are now on our travel team. They were all skating in the Axles of Annihilation bout, and it's just amazing to see the progression of the Derby generations moving on up.
It's been said before, Loose Bandit skating for the Texecutioners in this bout is, I believe, the first junior skater to make it to this level, skated initially for AZRD and now with the Texas Roller Girls. If you want to talk about the history of the Derby Brats, though, we have skating right now. The very first product of a Derby pregnancy is Tinker Smell, the daughter of Tinker Hell, one of the original Texas Roller Girls. I don't know if we've said this before, Dragon Lady, but the Texas Roller Girls started roller derby. You may not be aware of that.
Well, apparently Rose City started B teams, so you know, you gotta...
But so we've got again, the first Derby pregnancy was Tinker Smell, and now she's skating for the Derby Brats. That's just a fun little moment.
Well, and it's also not only so many of aged out Rosebuds participating in travel team. This is their first away bout with AOA, and we've got the bout starting with the ladies, the little ladies, I should say.
The little ladies of roller derby.
Do you want to talk about the big tournament invitational that you've got going on in July?
Let's talk about that. So the Minnesota Roller Girls will not be skating. However, skating will be Texas, New York, San Francisco, and Chicago. 4 top 10 teams, all teams ranked in the WFTDA, the respective regions. It's all going to be here July 21st and 22nd. You can, of course, come here to Austin, Texas and watch it, which would be my first choice because then you'll see it up close, live, and personal in this amazing venue, the Austin Convention Center, where we're at. But if you want to watch it online, it's going to be on WFTDA.tv. Blaze Streaming Media, who's done such an amazing job with the Denver and Rose City bout that we saw last week. They've done the Rose City bouts for years. And, of course, they did the entire Big Five in 2011. They do an amazing job with HD footage, great cameras, great switching, and, of course, great announcers. You can watch it on WFTDA.tv. It's going to be amazing. And now, Dragon Lady, how much would you pay for something like that?
Well, I'm a little bit of a derby addict, and I don't think I can put a price on my addiction.
Well, you can't put a price on this because it's going to be free. WFTDA.tv will be presenting the Star of Texas Bowl for free. The archives will be up a couple days after the game's over. Those will also be free, so be sure to check it out on WFTDA.tv.
That's what I definitely call an enabling price that I like. Now, Denver Rose City was the debut on WFTDA TV last weekend, and there are, with this event, 2 more bouts, East Coast Derby Extravaganza, and I, for the life of me, can't remember the other one.
That's because we don't have it scheduled yet, but if you've got a bout in August that you're interested in submitting for WFTDA.tv, you can, of course, contact us at the WFTDA.com, and I'm sure we'll be happy to talk to you about that. So that is correct. The East Coast Derby Extravaganza in June, I believe
It's the 3rd to the last weekend.
In June will be the East Coast Derby Extravaganza on WFTDA.tv, and then in July, the Star of Texas Bowl on WFTDA.tv.
All this to whet your appetite for the Big Five tournaments that WFTDA will be hosting in the fall.
That is correct. In September and October, we'll have the regionals and then the championships this year in Atlanta, Georgia. So we've got 5 minutes left of this halftime. We're going to take a brief announcer break, and then we'll be back with the second half of the Rose City Rollers Wheels of Justice versus the Texas Roller Girls Texecutioners.
Everyone's favorite font, Helvetica. Sarah font there, Portobello. There's a new Sarah in town. Helvetica. Scoring big. 3 points. Here comes Evil Doer, doing evil. Gonna have her own array of points. Meanwhile, we have a low block by the blue team on the jammer. Blue team player heads the box. When they were coming around, Helvetica on her tail, and then to have the blue team advantage. And as we discovered their skating earlier, they love to go the full 2 minutes. Helvetica picking up a huge number of points. Keep in mind, these girls are skating past their bedtimes. Oh, nice jammer takedown there at turn number 4. That's a Sika Quattro de Helvetica. And that is the 2 minutes for that jam. We used to waste our Saturday nights watching the Love Boat, but these girls make the productive time. And jamming for the blue team, we have T-Rocks.
For the green team, Rumblebee. Give it up for that. Give it up for the Texas Junior Roller Derby brats. Is that the right name? Yes, yes it is. Give it up. So entertaining, so awesome, so powerful.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You are literally watching the future of flat track roller derby. One of these young gals could be the next big star.
It's like roller derby time travel. And they're off. T-Rock sent to the penalty box for appears to be a track cut, leaving Rumblebee alone as the only jammer, but not, and the lead jammer. A Cinco de Rumblebee! Look at her go!
I hear there's a lot of buzz about that girl.
Small in stature, big in spirit. Fast as lightning, it's Rumblebee. Through the pack.
Nice jammer takedown there between turns number 3 and 4.
Blue team giving her no quarter. A solid wall of blue. She finds a seam. There she goes. Another grand slam. Give it up. Rumblebee just keeps on scoring another grand slam. That's a triple slam. You don't see that many grand slams in Denny's on a given Saturday. T-Rock's back on the track to end the streak.
T-Rock starting to score some points after staying in the box for most of his jam. Just about 40 seconds left. He only got 4 points for the green team.
All right, we're gonna have one more go around. Nope, the refs are saying no more. Let's give it up for the Junior Derby brats. Great exhibition, lots of fun, lots of spirit. Give them all high fives. Get ready for the second half between the Rose City Rollers.
All right, well, we've got the brats wrapping up here. Giving you a taste of what we're going to see, on your travel team in 5-10 years?
At a minimum. So in that first half, 48 points for the Wheels of Justice, 58 for the Texecutioners. We had 21 jams in that first half. The Rose City Rollers had lead jammer status in 11 of them. 10 jams went lead jam for the Texecutioners. Very evenly matched. The difference really were the Grand Slams and the penalty box. Wheels of Justice had 3 trips to the penalty box for their jammers, to I believe only 1 for the Texas Roller Girls. There were 6 Grand Slams scored in that first half by the Texecutioners, to only 2 for the Wheels of Justice. So you can clearly see Texas scoring the points with the big home run hits. Wheels of Justice scoring them, chipping away. They had 4 points, 4 points, 7 points, 4 points, 9 points, 2 points, 1 point, 3 point. Just doing it very nickel and dime, working their way through. Texas, lots of jams where they didn't score any points, but they have the lead because of those Grand Slams.
Well, and I think we're going to have to see where this bout goes. It's not on the track, it's going to be in the penalty box. Unfortunately, this is when you start seeing your minors impacting teams as your fourth ones start getting collected, sending off, but we've got our equipment checks done. Judge Knott is rounding them up. Everyone is lined up. Rose City is going to start with Havana Good Time standing in the penalty box. Scald Eagle jamming for Rose City up against Killbox. And who is that collecting a minor, an intentional minor behind the jam line?
That is Olivia Shooten-John. So it'll be 3-on-3 for less than 10 seconds in the pack.
Ooh.
And avoiding, I believe, a false start.
Here we go into the
Melmingle skating all the way around, and
Scald Eagle is out for lead jammer status. Killbox still working on her initial pass through the pack.
And she's trying to get around Mel Mingles. Havana out. Scald Eagle around to start her first scoring pass just as Killbox clears the pack.
Scald Eagle taking a nice juke move around Bellstar and calls off the jam 4 points. So just like that, the Wheels of Justice start to move back towards lead. Only a 6-point now game for Texas Roller Girls over the Wheels of Justice.
And just as that fourth whistle cleared the lips of a skating official, Rose City slithered in onto the jam line in front, taking a knee. White flight, jamming for Rose City.
And that is Vicious Van Gogo for the Texecutioners. Remember, if you want to talk to us on Twitter, hashtag Hipster City Showdown. Hashtag Hipster City Showdown.
We've got that immediate second whistle. White flight already in the front, trying to take around the outside. Jukes around and gets the jammer.
Meanwhile, Vicious working with the solid Rose City defense, working her way up towards the front. Rose City now gets off White flight 30 feet behind the pack and closing.
JK pushing her teammate Kit Cassidy into Vicious. It doesn't take her down, and she is out for her initial pass.
Meanwhile, White flight now coming around through, finishes her scoring pass. Loose Bandit gives chase, and calling off the jam is White flight. 4 points there for White flight. Now just a 2-point game, 58-56 with 28 minutes left in this game.
Well, we're almost seeing a mirror of period one with what Rose City was doing, so it'll be interesting to see, can they keep refreshed, or are they going to fall back to that penalty trouble and Texas can triumph towards the end of the period? We shall see. You shall see as well.
Texas takes a knee at the pivot line, little force and no-pack situation, releasing Killbox jamming for Texas.
And Acid jamming for Rose City. Looks like Rose City down one blocker. Mel Mangle sitting in the penalty box.
And out of play, Sulfuric Acid is up, out lead jammer for the Wheels of Justice. Killbox jumps the apex, does so successfully. She is out, but not lead jammer, about 60 feet behind Sulfuric Acid. As Sulfuric Acid now closing on a very quick moving pack.
Oh, Mercy being sent to the box just as Mel starts standing up. Acid getting pushed to the outside. And Mel is sent out for an out of play in the back of the pack.
Sulfuric Acid puts hands to hips, calls it off. No points for either team on that jam, so we'll do it 58-56. Do it all over again.
Let's relive the moment. Rose City with a full blocker box contingency, only 2 on the track to Texas's 4.
So Texas again takes a knee to force the action early, take advantage of this, not power jam, but definitely pack advantage.
Scald Eagle jamming for Rose City.
And I do believe that is Olivia Shooten-John.
Up against Olivia Shooten.
Now skating minorless since she cleared her minors earlier. Olivia Shooten-John comes through on the inside. She's out. Lead jammer Olivia Shooten-John for the Texecutioners. Scald Eagle almost broke through on the inside, forced to recycle back. Scald Eagle now quickly moves up to the front. She is out of the pack. Olivia Shooten-John now enters on a scoring pass. Oh, Olivia Shooten-John coming through untouched. Past the van a good time and calls it off. 4 points for Olivia Shooten-John.
Holding that lead fast and firm for Texas.
So first lead jam in the second half for the Texecutioners. First points in the second half for the Texecutioners. Make it now 62 for the women in black, over for 56 for the women in white with 25 minutes left in the game.
Rose City still with only 2 blockers on the track. It looks like Frenchie and JK out there. White flight is jamming against Killbox for Texas.
Killbox comes around on the inside, now to the outside, and she is out. Lead jammer status quickly for Killbox.
White flight getting stuck behind a 4-wall of Texas and squeaks on by on the outside, clearing her initial pass as the box empties out slowly.
Killbox now comes on a scoring pass, jukes inside, outside, back to the inside, turns on the jets, finishes her pass, calls off the jam with 1 foot out of bounds. Only 3 points. Smart, well, really good play by the referees, I should say, as Killbox had one skate in, one skate out. Therefore, she was out of bounds, did not pass that fourth blocker, so only 3 points on that scoring pass. Good play by the referees.
Good job.
Good job, referee.
Team Zebra wins. We've got sulfuric acid jamming for Rose City now. Both teams only 3 blockers on the track. It's evening out a little bit.
That is, I believe, Olivia Shootin' on the jammer line for Texas.
Rose is taking a knee, immediately shooting up to shut down.
Olivia Shootin' comes on the outside, untouched lead jammer. Olivia Shootin' sulfuric acid is up front, but she's got 2 blockers from Texas in front of her.
Rose City trying to trap back one of Texas skaters, slows them down as he gets out of the pack. But John is already all the way back around scoring.
Rose City's got a solid 3-wall up front, and Olivia Shootin' calls it off maybe a little late as sulfuric acid is into the pack. That was correct. 3 points scored by the Wheels of Justice to only 2 for Texas.
Interesting. You know, usually when you see teams of this caliber, you were seeing huge scores shooting up on the board there, but it's really a point-by-point game.
It is. In this second half, no team has scored more than 4 points in a jam. Now 67-59. We've got Killbox coming back to the jammer line for Texas.
And Scald Eagle for Rose City.
I see a false start. I don't see who it's on.
It's on Killbox.
Which means Scald Eagle is lead jammer for the Wheels of Justice and the only jammer. So critical error there by Killbox as a false start, illegal procedure call on her. She's in the penalty box.
You know what? Her numbers on her arms have rubbed off and are no longer visible.
Meanwhile, visible is 5-point grand slam for Scald Eagle there. That makes it 64-67. Scald Eagle now quickly on another scoring pass as the pack is stopped in turn 4.
Rose City has a Texas blocker. I can't see her number, trapped all the way back. And we've got a lead change.
Yeah, that's correct. Another grand slam for Scald Eagle.
Bringing 2 points ahead, and Texas loses another blocker to a cutting track major.
Molotov Impale and Vicious Van Gogh going to the penalty box. Scald Eagle around for another 5-point grand slam. The wheels and the bus are falling off for Texas right now, Dragon Lady.
And getting picked up by the Wheels of Justice. Wah, wah.
Scald Eagle comes in now, only 2 blockers. She comes through another grand slam. That's 20 points now in this jam for Scald Eagle. Killbox is back on the track, though, making her initial pass through the pack.
Trying to take a uniform whip off of one of her teammates, but that 4-wall in the front is holding steadfast, pushing her out of bounds as Scald comes around for another scoring pass, picking up another 5 points.
There's 5 grand slams now in this jam. There's only 26 seconds left, but at the rate she's going, she's got a chance at making another.
Oh, huge hit at the last second there by Joyride, knocking Killbox back, recycling her back, and now Scrappy Go Lucky being sent off. I think that was a 4th minor.
And Scald Eagle comes through for another grand slam as Killbox finally gets out. 3 seconds left in the jam, and Killbox calls it off, gives a fist pump, and why not? 30 points in that jam for Scald Eagle. And that was a pretty significant lead change. See if Texas calls a timeout here.
Well, you know, it's important that you share and share alike. Rose City's having penalty trouble, but they don't want Texas to feel left out.
And really, it was the penalties there. The illegal procedure major on Killbox for apparently the numbers being having rubbed off her arm, and then blockers going in the penalty box. Molotov Impale and Vicious Van Gogh for Texas made the difference in that jam, as it was only the kill of Salmonella out there jamming with Polygon, the only blockers for Texas. They could do nothing against Scald Eagle. She scored 30 points, 6 grand slams in that jam.
Well, there looks like there was some sort of clarification from Judge Knott to Rob Lobster, because it looks like at the end of that jam, Blast Unicorn being sent to the box, and he was really wondering why.
All right, so we've got Olivia Shootin' jamming for Texas.
Up against White Flight for Rose City.
Texas with all 4 blockers on the track.
And White Flight shifting to a blocker defense position to help out her teammates and hold back John.
Texas is not engaging the Wheels of Justice wall, but now out is Olivia Shooten-John. She's lead jammer, but right behind her is White Flight. Olivia Shooten-John attempts to engage White Flight. White Flight gets positional advantage on Olivia Shooten-John, forcing her to call it off.
Well, and I think it was interesting, it was pointed out, so Smarty Pants of Texas on Team USA. White Flight and Sulfuric Acid played for Team USA last winter.
As now we have a Texas timeout.
And so it's always nice to kind of see skaters skating in different capacities, coming together, going against each other, and seeing how that dynamic kind of pairs up. It looks like possibly Texas trying to get an official review, as Corvette is reenacting some sort of play out there to judge not.
So we've got a timeout.
You know, you can attempt to get those calls reversed, but it never works.
It looks like
never works.
Trying to clarify the bra strap rule there in concerns to back blocks. But that is strictly my interpretation of derby charades from the inside of the track.
So here's where we're at with 20 minutes left in this game, 89-67. Texas with only one timeout left. Rose City still sitting with two timeouts. Coming to the jammer line is Killbox for Texas.
And Sulfuric Acid for Rose City. Rose City down two blockers still in the box. Texas is going to start on a knee. And a last-minute skater switch out for Rose, replacing JK with Mercy as the pivot.
Judge Knott skating over the Texas bench now.
Someone
Looks like
had fourth minor.
Smarty Pants picked up a fourth minor there, I believe. Or excuse me, Corvette.
Well, no one's going to the box. Oh, she went on the track by mistake. Same diff.
The State of Roller Derby announcing where we get to try to pretend we know what's going on out there because no one will tell us. And we're back now. Killbox versus Sulfuric Acid.
Acid going in for a hit. Not so successful, but... Ooh, big hit from Mel Mangles.
And out is Sulfuric Acid, lead jammer for Rose City. That was a major on Mangles, but it worked as Wheels of Justice have lead jammer.
Unfortunately, Wheels of Justice only has one blocker out there.
They have two now as the penalty box was full, so she was waved off.
No, I think she, Scrappy finished her minute, is back on, and so is Blast.
So Killbox finishes her initial pass. Sulfuric Acid now finishes her scoring pass.
And she is going to pick up
4 points. The delay there likely as she was trying to run off some more penalty clock time. So you have to appreciate that heady play by the bench of Rose City, bench manager of Rose City.
And he is back out on the track again, conversing with the head ref.
So it looks like that was 4 points on that last jam for Sulfuric Acid. None for Texas. 93 now to 67 with 19 minutes left.
Action is, we've got 5 seconds to start.
We're 3-on-3 on the track. Each team has a blocker in.
Sulfuric Acid jamming for Rose City. And your jammer's on the ground. I can't even see her number. But Scald out of the pack. Lead jammer once again for Rose City.
And Olivia Shooten-John jamming for Texas is still in the pack. She's knocked down
by Joyride, and it looks like she got a major as they tangled up on the ground there.
Olivia Shooten-John out of the pack. Scald Eagle now on a scoring pass, though. Texas got a solid four-wall up front, moving a very quick pack speed.
Rose City pushing Scald into the pack. Scald even trying to knock out a blocker to trap her behind, but she's unsuccessful and calls off the jam.
Solid hit by Polygon there to force Scald Eagle out and forcing the jam to be called off. 2 more points there. Rose City inching closer to the century mark now, 95-67 for the women in white from Portland.
Only one skater in the box. Joyride still for Rose City as White Flight up there against Killbox jamming.
You have to like that penalty that Joyride took. Yes, it was a major, but it allowed Scald Eagle to get out. It allowed lead jammer status to be gained. Smart penalty.
Sometimes you got to take one for the team.
Absolutely. Killbox versus White Flight. White Flight up front around Bellstar. White Flight goes down. Killbox now with the jammer advantage. She's up front.
White Flight got a little tripped up there on her own two skates, taking her down, but she is quickly back up as Havana and Frank holding Sarah in the front of the pack, and White Flight is through for lead jammer.
Absolutely. Killbox now does get out of the pack. Not lead jammer. Obviously, about 30 feet separate the jammers. Texas has all 4 of their blockers up front. Rose City with 3 in the back.
I'm going to smell a 0-point jam here.
Very possibly. We'll see if the Rose City blockers engage. They do. We've got a mix-up, but now Killbox gains advantage on White Flight, and White Flight calls it off. You were correct, Dragon Lady. 0-0 in that jam.
Rose City quickly lining up. They are hugging that jammer line tonight. And Texas is much obliged to join them.
So
keep up company.
We are 5-on-5, the way the Derby gods intended it to be, as no one is in the penalty box. We've got Olivia Shootin' John on the jammer line for Texas.
And sulfuric acid for Rose City.
So both teams running essentially just a 3-jammer rotation, although we've yet to see Vicious Van Gogh jam in this second half.
And I think this is the first time acid is jammed in this period. It's amazing what teams can accomplish when they have all of their skaters on the track. But both teams just focusing on the opposing jammer, letting their jammer fight their way through the pack on their own. Acid pulls out and is lead jammer for Rose City.
Olivia Shootin' John still in the pack on her initial pass. Here comes sulfuric acid scoring points. Works her way through. She's up. She's around. That's 5-point grand slam for sulfuric acid. Olivia Shootin' John, meanwhile, tries to an initial pass. She is out.
Out of play, being warned on Scrappy Go Lucky.
Here's sulfuric acid on a second scoring pass. Olivia Shootin' John working quickly to come towards the pack.
Acid relying strongly on her teammates to thread her through the pack there. She picks up 3 points before she calls it off, and someone was fingered to the box right at the end of that last jam, and it looks like it was Mercy.
And with an 8-point jam there by sulfuric acid, the scoreboard currently says 98-67. I do believe that's an error. And there we go. They heard me. They fixed it.
Their ears were burning.
They're still off. It should be 103-67. Well, we'll see what happens. Regardless, a century mark break by the Rose City Rollers.
And now an official timeout for some tape, from some track repair. Updating some tape there. Safety first. Always important.
We can remind you to hit us up on Twitter at hashtag Hipster City Showdown. We can also remind you the WFTDA TV will be featuring, as we told you, July 21st and 22nd, the Star of Texas Bowl. Also, June 22nd through the 24th, the East Coast Derby Extravaganza will be featured on the WFTDA.TV. That's going to be 3 days of top-flight Derby action.
2 tracks.
2 tracks
in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Well,
Feasterville.
Close enough.
Not really. But regardless, it's an amazing time. If you've not yet been to the East Coast Derby Extravaganza, you should definitely make your way there. If you can't get out there, you can again watch all of the action from the 2 main tracks on WFTDA.TV.
Texas is going to
Correct.
ECDX. Rose City is going.
Correct.
Gotham will be there.
Correct.
Denver will be there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many teams going.
Preach it, Dragon Lady.
Oh, my goodness. You got to be there.
The tape has been fixed. 102-67 says the scoreboard. 15 minutes left in the game.
Scald Eagle jamming up against Killbox there. No pack created as Texas shoots over the pivot line with everyone else taking a knee.
Scald Eagle just out of bounds.
And
recycles back. Now 3-wall out of play is the call. Scald Eagle's out. Scald Eagle lead jammer for the Wheels of Justice.
Sarah's still stuck back in that 3-wall as she pushes her way and advances through. The wall just follows her right on and shifts to the front.
Oh, she came through on the inside line. The door was open. She squeaked through. She's out, but Scald Eagle now on a scoring pass.
Went by completely unseen, the best way a jammer likes to go. But Texas speeding up as Scald in the pack for her scoring pass.
Bellstar holding Scald Eagle on the inside line. Killbox doing everything she can to get up to the pack.
And
Scald Eagle checks the position of Killbox and calls it off. 3 more points there for the Wheels of Justice.
Looking to her bench for command. debut on the Wheels of Justice bench, I must admit, because he's not here talking to you. Mike Chex is now working the bench with the Wheels of Justice, so you have to put up with me instead.
That's okay.
All right. Well, both teams, 2 blockers in the box.
Looks like Mercy, though, is standing. Remember, when a skater is standing in the penalty box less than 10 seconds on the penalty, White Flight versus Olivia Shootin' White Flight's up front with Loose Bandit and Polygon. She's lead jammer status, but still in the pack. Now she's out. White Flight, lead jammer, and out of the pack.
Some nice hits there. Don't slow her down too much. I like to notice that White Flight usually takes the outside. Not the quickest way, but the quickest way for her.
So Olivia Shootin' now about 40 feet behind White Flight. Both jammers approaching the pack. White Flight runs into the back of Loose Bandit and calls it off.
No points.
No points. Good call by the refs. Remember, as we said earlier, hips in front of hips. The Wheels of Justice coach disagrees.
And the box is slowly clearing out for Rose City. Milmingle's standing. And as Raw Lobster rushes the head ref, we have the captain of Texas out there as well. Corvette.
Texas starting to get frustrated. Out talking to the refs, 67-106 with 12 and a half minutes left. We're back on the action. Looks like that's sulfuric acid. She's out for lead jammer for the Wheels of Justice.
And now the box is empty for Rose City. Milmingle's out and giving Texas a hard time there for Shortcut.
Shortcut jamming for the first time in this game. Sulfuric acid, though, comes around untouched. 4 points, and she calls off the jam. So we've not seen Vicious Van Gogh jam the entire second half for the Texecutioners, and for the first time today we see Shortcut out there jamming for Texas. You have to be curious, was that a one-time thing, or are we going to start seeing Shortcut in this jammer rotation?
Well, and having watched Texas for a while, I'm wondering, is Vicious being saved for later in the period? I don't know.
With under 12 minutes left and a almost 40-point deficit, a 39-point deficit now for the Texecutioners versus the Wheels of Justice. I think the time to break out that secret weapon would be now.
4th minor to the French Tickler, sending her to the box. Maybe she has an ouchie and just not feeling 100% tonight. You never know. It's hard being an athlete. Scald Eagle out there jamming for Rose City.
And that is Olivia Shootin' for the Texecutioner. Scald Eagle around on the outside. Right behind her is Olivia Shootin'. Both jammers working their way up front. Scald Eagle, though, is out. She is not lead jammer.
Minor forearm as she passed through the pack there. Lucille Brawl really staying on there as she passed through.
So Olivia Shootin' here has the opportunity to break out and get lead jammer status.
If she can get around Havana Good Time.
She does. Scald Eagle is in the back of the pack. Olivia Shootin' does not call it off. So both jammers looks like they're going to take a crack at a scoring pass. Gutsy play here by Texas, but when you're down by 39 points, I think this is the right call to make.
Well, and Scald Eagle getting knocked to the inside there. Texas dropping back, forcing her in much further, and we got Texas coming through for a full 4-point scoring pass.
Meanwhile, Scald Eagle is still stuck. This is a scoring pass for Scald Eagle. Remember, she now finishes it 4 points. So both teams have traded 4-point passes, but now Olivia Shootin' advantage as she hasn't passed anyone inbounds yet. Here comes Scald Eagle, both jammers on a scoring pass, and Olivia Shootin' Calls it off. Got 1 point there for Olivia Shootin' as Texas takes their last timeout. You have to be nervous about using your last timeout when you
early in the period
are behind and there's still 10 minutes left in the game. We'll see if potentially one of these may have been a official review, which would not count as a timeout.
Right.
But the scoreboard currently shows Texas having no timeouts left.
Well, and considering that both bench managers are bringing to the center of the track, it's looking like an official review is being requested. Doesn't mean it will be granted. And it looks like it has to do with impact as a second time here.
So again, both teams scored points there. Really gutsy play by Olivia Shootin'. Was not the first jammer out of the pack. Did get lead jammer status. Did not call it off. Allowed both jammers to engage. Both jammers scored a 4-point scoring pass, but Olivia Shootin', able to get positional advantage over Scald Eagle and then scored another, I believe, 3-point pass on that last pass through the pack.
And I think Polygon went to the box for an illegal procedure major there at the very end during that timeout. I don't know if that was the point of the timeout, but now she's in the box. 3-3 block.
And it was an official review, Dragon Lady, as Texecutioners still show one timeout on the scoreboard. And coming back to the jammer line for the first time. No, excuse me. That's not Vicious. That's Killbox on the jammer line for Texas.
Going up against White Flight, who I blinked and missed her getting lead jammer. She took the outside.
The door was wide open. She is lead jammer. Killbox now does get out. Here's White Flight on a scoring pass. Pass Vicious. Pass Smarty Pants. And does not call it off. 4 points. Runs a little bit of clock. Smart play there by White Flight. You've got the lead. Burn a few more seconds of clock.
As you get into the last 10 minutes of the game, you know, it only takes 1 point to win. And any amount of time you can nix off, especially if Rose finds itself in the bad end of a power jam, things can turn around just that quickly.
It starts to get the point, though, where Texas really has to hope for a power jam with under 10 minutes left and about a 50-point deficit here. You don't have time to nickel and dime. You've got to start getting some 10, 15-point jams here to get yourself arguably back into it. As Olivia Shootin' is on the jammer line for Texas.
Lead jammer for John. Excellent for Texas there.
Sulfuric Acid is jamming for Rose City. She's in the back of the pack. Solid defense by Texas. Olivia Shootin' 30 feet and closing onto the pack on a scoring pass. She's through on the outside. Untouched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Grand slam for Olivia Shootin'.
Sulfuric Acid having a tough time getting through that pack, getting knocked inside, taking a tumble, but back up. Now clearing her initial pass.
And OJ comes around, finishes the pass, calls it off. 4 points for Texas and 1 point for Rose City. Which, if she got 1, she should have gotten 2. Polygon in the penalty box as Rose City coaches explained that situation to Quicksilver.
Yes, so I'm wondering if there will be a point adjustment.
Remember, you have 1 blocker in play.
We've got Judge Knott probably confirming whether or not she was in the box.
And 2 points is the call by Judge Knott. Quicksilver changes it to
2 points.
2 points. It pains me to say this almost, but this is a really well-reffed game.
And
as we have an official timeout. Likely to go, hey guys, there was 2 points on that last pass.
Just triple checking to make sure points are where points are due. That's why you gotta love officials. They keep a track of all the little details that none of us have the mind to.
And you have to appreciate the way the referees handle that. The wrong call was made. It was fixed quickly. It was fixed appropriately, and we are quickly back to the action. Now 120-81, 8 minutes left in the game. Killbox on the jammer line for Texas.
Up against Scald Eagle for Rose City. Empty penalty box all the way around.
Killbox is on the outside. She's through. Lead jammer for Killbox. Scald Eagle is out. Minor track cut, but she's coming through the pack now. She's out.
On 1 foot, takes the inside line. Regardless, wasn't going to be lead jammer anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a smart minor track cut to just take.
It looks like J.K. Rowland being sent to the penalty box.
Killbox gets through on the outside, untouched quickly. 4 points, calls it off. 85 now to 120.
35 points. You know,
there again, you can chip away, but as you get to the 7-minute and 15-second mark on the clock,
you need some serious penalty trouble to happen to the opposing team to clear some double digits.
Well, if anyone, though, can get points in a hurry, it's the jammer coming to the jammer line for Texas, Olivia Shootin'.
And if there's anyone who can get penalties by the fistful,
finish your thought.
It can be Rose City.
All right, looks like we've got a timeout by Rose City.
Probably just saying, stay out of the box, stay out of the box, stay out of the box. That's all it's going to take. Now it is Texas who is hugging the jammer line on a knee.
So big thanks to Infinite Media for all of the amazing production you're seeing right now on Justin TV. And again, you're going to see this action again high-level Derby action on WFTDA.tv all season long in June, July, and August, and then into the Big Five, the 4 regionals, and the championship event in Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be an amazing 2012 for Derby on your computer, Dragon Lady.
Well, and if I am not there, I'm certainly going to be glued to my computer screen.
All right, 85-1, 27 minutes left in the clock. Again, White Flight versus OJ. Libby Shootin' John works her way towards the front.
Rose City just trying to swallow John on the inside line. They're just swarming around her and holding her to pretty much a slow crawl.
Just an absolute scrum by both teams here.
Now it's Mercy who is pulling back John in the back of the pack.
But Libby Shootin' John works her way towards the front. White Flight now gets free as well. White Flight is around. Texas though quickly closes. And White Flight is out. White Flight lead jammer for the Wheels of Justice.
I can't even see. The jammer's almost getting out time and time again.
Olivia Shootin' John though right behind her, about 20 feet separate the jammers. The pack moves very quickly. Wheels of Justice pushing the pack speed forward, which you wouldn't think they would do with the jammer advantage, but what they're doing here is running clock. Smart play by Rose City.
Not, we've got 2 fast jammers out there in case White Flight were to fall behind. No points easily giving away to Texas there. But yeah, now it's just a race.
And it's not even a race, it's just an old school Derby event as all the skaters are just skating around. Rose City very, very content to not try to score points here. They are running clock, pure and simple. They have lead jammer status. 40 seconds left in this jam. We may well see this go all the way down to 2 minutes as White Flight now comes towards the Texas defense.
And tries to take a little hit there on John, eyes the clock, and puts her hands on the hips.
And calls it off. Neither team scored points, but huge jam win by the Rose City Rollers, Wheels of Justice, as they ran almost a full 2 minutes off the clock in that jam, Dragon Lady.
Well, it's interesting. These 2 teams are in different regions of the WFTDA. Texas is in South Central, Rose City, a part of the West region, and Texas is ranked number 1 in your region. Rose City ranked number 3, and there's clearly such tight competition in these ranks.
We got coming back to the jammer line for the first time in this half. Vicious Van Gogh for the Texecutioners.
And sulfuric acid out there for Rose City. Empty penalty box.
Vicious Van Gogh works her way towards the front. Solid defense by Rose City. Forces her out of bounds. Minor track cut, I believe, on Vicious Van Gogh.
Rotating hits one after another, but out of play in the air, and that is going to send Frenchie out for a out-of-play major.
So Vicious Van Gogh is out of the pack. As we said, minor track cut. She's not lead jammer. That means sulfuric acid still has the opportunity to gain lean status. She's got to get past Smarty Pants, which she does. She is lead jammer. Meanwhile, Vicious Van Gogh completing a scoring pass. If I'm scalding sulfuric acid at this point, I don't call it off. Run clock, run clock. You can give Texas 4 points right now, but if you can take 2 minutes off the clock, that's a win for you.
And she can get a scoring pass of her own in before needing to end this jam.
Solid hit by Bellstar. Vicious Van Gogh now gets a jammer lap point on sulfuric acid.
After being stuck in the back of the pack there with that Texas wall, they're getting the out-of-play signal. It happens in the back just as much as in the front.
Sulfuric acid and Vicious Van Gogh both almost out. Vicious Van Gogh tripped on Polygon, so that's a 4-point scoring pass for sulfuric acid. Texas has to start getting desperate here. 3.5 minutes left, 30 seconds left in this jam. Vicious finishes a 5-point scoring pass, but she looks tired, Dragon Lady.
Well, Acid still working her way through a very spread out pack now, out of play being declared. She clears her own 4-point pass.
And she does finally call it off right before Vicious gets there. Solid jam by Rose City, 124-94, a 30-point lead for Rose City over Texas. 3 minutes left in this game.
Texas now having a blocker in the box there at the end of the jam. Scald Eagle standing up on the jam line wearing the purple star.
And jamming for Texas.
Somewhere back there. Defense is so strong we can't even see the jammer.
Truly can't see the jammer. It's Olivia Shootin' John. Scald Eagle meanwhile up front. Major block to the head. Power jam for Rose City. A Scald Eagle is out. Lead jammer. This is game, Dragon Lady. This is game.
Rose City dropping back, trying to create a slow pace. Doesn't matter who's going fast and who's slow. It's the people who change the pace that can be called for destruction of the pack. And now Rose City swallowing up number 86, the Killa.
And Scald Eagle gets through for a 5-point grand slam with 1 minute 17 seconds left in the jam, 1 minute 50 seconds left in the game. Olivia Shooten-John still sitting in the penalty box, wearing the jammer star for Texas.
Rose City doing a good job trapping back the Killa, controlling the pack definition, but
nice.
Scald Eagle being recycled to the back there.
Nice hit by Loose Bandit to force Scald Eagle out, but Scald Eagle comes back through for another 5-point grand slam. 138 now to 94.
And now it is Rose City at the disadvantage, 4-3 blocker status in Texas's favor.
Scald Eagle comes through another 5-point grand slam. That is her third grand slam in this pass. Olivia Shooten-John is out of the pack. The power jam is over, out of the penalty box.
But this is going to be her initial pass.
Correct. I think this is a little too late. Scald Eagle just pushing her way, barreling her way up front.
Texas doing a great job of bridging, but they finally let her go, and that's going to be another 5 points for Scald.
That is her fourth pass through this pack, fourth grand slam for Scald Eagle, just putting on a clinic here. Olivia Shooten-John does finally get out of the pack with 10 seconds left on the jam.
Rose City still having a Texas skater in the back.
That was the jam. 2 minutes into it, Scald Eagle said, I'm going to skate the whole time. With just over 30 seconds, we've got time for one more jam, Dragon Lady. That was an amazing jam by Rose City, exactly what Texas did not need. The power jam, Rose City, though, able to capitalize as they rattled off 4 grand slams by Scald Eagle. And I hate to say it, but the crowd is starting to head for the exits.
It did kind of cement that lead.
So 143.94, we got Vicious Van Gogh jamming for Texas.
And White Flight jamming for Rose City.
Vicious up front. Vicious out of play. Vicious Van Gogh is the lead jammer. A brief glimmer of hope as White Flight is still in the pack on her initial pass. Oh, but just as I say it, White Flight comes through. The door is wide open by Texas. White Flight is out of the pack. Vicious Van Gogh now on a scoring pass, Dragon Lady.
Rose City rushing to the front to make it as difficult possible, letting Van Gogh through the back.
Game clock ticks down to 0. When this jam ends, the game will end. Here comes White Flight now on a scoring pass of her own.
And it looks like
Vicious Van Gogh gets out for 4 points. White Flight, remember, is on a scoring pass as well.
And White Flight.
That was a major track cut on White Flight being called by Quicksilver. Power Jam Texas. Grand Slam Vicious Van Gogh. 1 minute left. Is there time?
I don't know. But
Vicious Van Gogh quickly up on another scoring pass.
Having a good time forcing her to the ground there.
Texas has the pack way in the back, moving very slowly out of play. Forces Vicious Van Gogh through for another grand slam.
45 seconds.
Texas now behind by 30 points.
And now Frenchie is going to the box. That leaves only 3 Rose blockers on the track.
Good play by Texas. They've got a blocker in the back. Vicious Van Gogh gets another grand slam. 24 seconds left, 141-13. Now it's a 30-point lead. I don't think it's enough, but it will have been a nice capper to the game.
Oh, and now Havana Time getting a major track cut. Only leaving 2 of Rose City's blockers out there, Mercy and Frankenherder.
Vicious Van Gogh almost took a track cut there, but she stayed out of bounds. Now that's a major track cut by Vicious Van Gogh. That's going to be game, as that's the clock, that's the game. Final score, 148 for the Wheels of Justice. I believe 117 for the Texecutioners. And hats off to the Rose City Rollers, Wheels of Justice. They came into Austin, Texas. They played an amazing game, and they are victorious.
I must say I'm glad the building had air conditioning. Otherwise, I think we would have melted on the track out there.
117.
An incredible game. Texas took a 10-point lead into the halftime.
Fought to the very end. You know, that's what I like to see out of any team, whether it's a 10-point lead, a 100-point lead, anything in between. I want to see them fight like it's a 2-point game no matter what.
And you have to wonder what this means implication-wise for the WFTDA as a whole. The WFTDA West Region champions, the Ole Rollers, as has been well documented in the blogosphere, have lost the core of their team. You have to question if they're going to be maintaining the level they've been at the last 3 years. The number 2 team, the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls, have lost a couple of their mainstay skaters, some of the force behind their ascendance in the WFTDA. You have to question if they're going to be able to maintain their position, which leaves these Rose City Rollers, who finished 3rd last year in the WFTDA West Region playoffs, will they be able to make the jump to the number 1 team in the West?
Dude, I am not going to say anything. I'm not going to jinx a damn thing. I'm just going to nod at you, Kool-Aid, and go, that's interesting. Those are very interesting thoughts.
So coming to you live from Austin, Texas, this has been John Kool-Aid Porter, joined here by
this Dragon Lady from the Rose City Rollers.
And you're watching an Infinite Media production. Thank you so much. Don't forget to check out future Derby action on WFTDA.tv.
Thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you soon again in the future.
Thank you and good night.
Apparently is your arch nemesis of some kind. Tell me about it.
She is so amazing. I am very fortunate to get to skate against her again. I really admire her skating style, and it was an honor to get to skate against her again. I love playing these girls. This whole game has been entirely fun, and thank you all so much for being a part of this day. It really meant a lot to the Texecutioners and to the Texas Roller Girls. So come to see us in July, because that is also going to be a phenomenal weekend of bouts. So
more hipster cities, I think. We have Chicago, we have San Francisco, we have Austin, of course, and
sorry, I'm so distracted.
Sorry, oh, here comes Scott Eagle over here.
My photo opportunity.
Scott. All right, now we have Scald Eagle here.
Hi.
Oh, I feel like a tiny person against these two. I'm dwarfed by Scald Eagle and Vicious Van Gogh. Scald Eagle, you guys played against each other last year, and you guys pulled it out. This time with a little bit more of a win. So tell me how you all have prepared for this game this time.
Penalty control. I feel like that was one of the biggest things we've been working on, really controlling our cuts and everything. So, and especially blocking minors and majors. So I feel like that really helped us.
Penalty control is important. You need to stay out of the box to score the points and to block pretty much. So pretty much. But thank you so much for coming. And, you know, this is like the family rivalry that we love. And, I mean, it's super exciting. Hipster Showdown. What do you think?
I think it was awesome. We had so much fun. Thank you so much for having us. This was a great game.
Thanks for coming.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. Scald Eagle and Vicious Van Gogh. And see you next time, June 2nd for our home bouts. And don't forget, July 21st and 22nd for more hipster cities joining us right here at the Convention Center for some roller derby action, flat track.
Yeah. All right. Is that it?
You can see right through me. Can you read my mind? Can you picture the things I'm thinking of? Wondering why you are all the wonderful things you are. You can fly, you belong to the sky. You and I belong to each other. If you need a friend, I'm the one to fly to. If you need to be loved, here I am. Read my mind. When you look at me, quivering like a little girl, shivering, you can see